Hi Dan and Debbie, this is Joe. Well, you asked me for advice about a boat given some parameters, and this boat will meet your parameters. I'm not going to say it's cheap, but it meets all your parameters otherwise. This is my personal demonstrator, Chaparral 330 Signature. This boat has been in production since 2011. This particular model is a 2013. And I want to call your attention to those details that you were asking me about. You can see in all other ways, an express cruiser, something you're very familiar with, has an anchor windlass up forward. You can tell it has the so-called wide deck bow, which is that bow that's a little bit pickle forked in the front. And what that does is it allows you to put a platform bed in the forward part of the boat and have it be big enough, and it also gives you a much more secure platform for working your anchor. And I'll demonstrate that here right now. Okay, walking through the boat, you see some of the things you're familiar with where Chaparral is concerned. A well laid out instrument panel. This particular boat has electronic vessel control, and it also has joystick operation, which can help you if you're in a place like Kenton Narrows. And of course, you get all the latest bells and whistles when you get a new boat. This is a 12-inch touchscreen GPS by Garmin. Walking down into the cabin, you can see that the basic layout is an L lounge. Now this does not convert. You would use an air mattress option to fill it in if desired. There's a small table that mounts to the side of one of these surfaces. I'll show you in a second. Then you have your galley area, your bathroom area, and then your mid cabin. The mid cabin is actually very easy to convert, and it actually uses a sliding hard door rather than a curtain. A cockpit layout, really basically quick. You have your helm chair, double wide companion seat, U-shaped seating in the back. The aft seat will lay flat. It has an aft facing seat, and there's storage under it as well as under these two cushions. Over here we have our battery switch compartment, second refrigerator, and then cooler storage. Alright, so this gives you just a real quick rough idea of the layout of the boat. Now what happens with the platform bed is this. There's actually a motorized shock here, so that the backrest of this seat becomes the foot of the bed. You can see there's a transition here. This is the backrest cushion, and this is the actual inner spring mattress. At the foot of the bed, the width is 52 inches. So you get a good sized bed out of this in a 33-foot boat. The television right now is deployed to face in. It has a motorized swivel that will allow it to be viewed from the bed or from this middle area, and that's where the table mounts. Okay, the second feature that I needed to demonstrate was the ability to stand up in the shower. Now I'm 6'1", and Dan, I can't remember how tall you are, but I recall you being a pretty tall person. As you can tell, in the main cabin there's probably 6'7" headroom, so it's a very spacious feeling boat. You go into the head compartment and you have a fiberglass covered seat to use your telephone shower. Of course, here's your curtain. Now I can stand up in here. Now, whether you could or not, I don't know, but 6'1" can make it. Okay. The third feature that you wanted to see was engine compartment access, and this boat really shines on that. Literally, the only part that's a little tricky to get to is the outboard bank of spark plugs on the starboard motor. Everything else is really easy. You have a step down into the cabin. Into the bilge, and then another platform where you can actually put your feet. Right now I'm actually sitting on that step looking around in the bilge compartment. That's the plug for your transducer if you need to replace it. Intake for gen. These are your transducers. This is the generator with the sound shield, 5 kW. These are your motors. This is holding tank and vacuum pump for the head compartment. This is your battery system, your starting batteries and your house. Air conditioning pump, air conditioning intake, and battery charger. And you can see it's pretty easy to get around in this compartment. Go down here you have a bilge pump, you have float switch, and then a secondary float switch. That's a high water alarm. You have automatic cathodic protection there, 2 Mercathode kits installed. And then these units are your joystick control steering units. Cockpit table stores underneath. I have to check the length of this leg. That leg sometimes is too long and the table's too high. Anyway, this is what I have in mind. I have in mind that you would be able to go from a boat that you're cruising at approximately 25 miles an hour, and I would say that you're burning 10 gallons an hour, to a boat that at 25 miles an hour is burning probably 16 gallons an hour, but not 20 gallons an hour. This boat is actually pretty fast. Top speed, I've had this boat as fast as 44, 45 miles an hour. She might be a little slower once we bottom paint her, which we have not done yet. But I can tell you that the boat, getting a 30-mile-an-hour cruise is certainly not a problem. And the boat handles rough water very well. And if you could just imagine your boat, if it were about 2 feet wider and about 6, 7 feet longer and weighed nearly twice as much, you'd have a real good feel for it. At the same time, I've had church groups on this boat, not this particular one, but on the 2012 demonstrator I've had 10 people in the cockpit and 2 off the back in tubes. She could still do all that if you want her to. Very versatile boat. Doesn't get you out of being able to do anything, but big enough if you wanted to go ahead and run the intercoastal waterway, you could do it. Anyway, that's my 2 cents. You'd pay more upfront initially on the boat, but you'd have a little better financing. You would have, by virtue of buying a more recent design, you're able to get things like the platform bed that you'd have to go to a larger boat in order to get, a boat that would probably be twin inboard powered and therefore use a lot more fuel. And so, I don't know, this might be totally out of the question, or it might be a good idea. But review the video and let me know, and if it does hold some interest for you, well, the Annapolis Boat Show is this coming weekend, so there should be a special. Anyway, I hope you guys are having a great day. Take care.